What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ejide, and if it's your first time stopping by, you are most definitely welcome. So on today's episode, I'll be sharing you guys how to draft an updated basic sleeve pattern. You can always use this pattern, to make any type of sleeve you want. You can always alter the design to make any type of sleeve you want. So now guys, the only thing I'll be using for this is just my pattern paper. So now guys, I've gone ahead to iron my pattern paper. You can see the middle. I've gotten the middle of my pattern paper. Now the first thing I'm going to mark is the full length of this sleeve. Now guys, the full length is 21, so I'm just going to be marking from 1 inch here. I'm going to point out that 1 inch, that's the starting point, and also mark out the 21 inches point, and I'm just going to rule out the middle like this. So this length here is the length of the sleeve and it is 21 inch. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to get my bicep line. So now guys, because this is going to be a jacket sleeve, I'm going to come down by 7 inches. So now guys, if you are making a very basic sleeve, let's say you made a princess that buster, you want to make a basic sleeve for that, you can always use 4 or 5 inches. The bicep line is that area where your muscle is. A jacket is always kind of tight around that bicep area, so that is why you should make use of 5 inches or 6 or 4 if you are making a for some other type of garments aside jacket. So now guys, the next thing I marked is the elbow line, which is 10 inches, and I also have the full length of the sleeve, which is 21 inches. So now guys, once I'm done getting my vertical point like so, the next thing I'm going to do is mark out the circumference of my bicep. Now guys, the circumference of this bicep I'm working with is 13 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide 13 inches into 2 and mark it on each side of this point. So I just marked 6.5 on each side of this middle line. Now coming down to my elbow, the elbow circumference I'm working with is 12 inches. So I'll just mark 6 inches on one part of this middle line and 6 inches also on the other parts. Now coming down to the wrist circumference is 10 inches. So I'll just mark 5 inches on each side of this line like so. So now the next thing to do is just to connect the points together like so. And I'll also extend the points in the middle like so. This is the bicep line here. I'll extend this line, and coming down to the elbow line also, I'll just rule it out, and also the wrist line. So guys, the next thing I'm going to come to the top of this sleeve and just mark out this triangle like so. I'm going to connect this to the edge of the sleeve in a triangular form like this. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to label everything I've marked out for easy identification. So now guys, I'm going to label this, the fronts and also the back. You're going to decide where is going to be the front of your sleeve and also the back, because the front and the back has different measurements. You are going to understand what I'm talking about later on. So I'm also going to label this my bicep, the elbow, this is the elbow line, and also the wrist line. I'm going to label this also. So now guys, once I've chosen where is going to be the front of my sleeve, I'm going to be working with the front now. So the first thing to do is to mark this triangular part here. So whatever you have here guys, you are going to divide this into 4 equal parts. So now I'll just go ahead to divide this into 2 equal parts first. So I'm going to measure the middle like so. So now I've gone ahead to divide this into 2. So now guys, I'm going to come to the first part also, and also go ahead to divide my tape into 2 so I can get the middle. Don't forget, we are aiming to divide this part into 4 equal parts. Then I'll do the same thing to this other side. I'll get the middle of my tape so I can have 2 equal parts here also. So guys, you can see that now I have 4 equal parts. So now coming to this first point here, I'm going to be coming in by 1/4 of an inch. You can see what I'm doing. Come in by 1/4 of an inch, and at the end here, this last point here, I'm going to be coming out by 0.75 inches, like so. So now guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this point to this, to this, to this part, and to this last part here. So I'll just go ahead to do that now with my pen. So guys, this is it. We are done with the front part. Now coming to the back, guys, instead of dividing the back into 4 parts like we did for the front, we are going to be dividing the back into 3 equal parts. So guys, what you do is just measure what you have at the back and use your calculator to divide that into 3. I had 9.5, so using my calculator to divide that into 3, I got like 3.1 something. So I just went to mark out 3.1 here. So you can see I have 3 equal parts here. So now guys, the first part here, that is this one, this last part here, you're going to go ahead to divide that part into 2 equal parts also. Make use of your tape here. Just measure what you have at that first point and get the middle of the point. So now at that last point, at this new point you made, come in by 0.5 inches. You can see what I'm doing, just marking 0.5 inches. And at this last point here, you come out also by 0.5 inches. So now guys, I'm going to connect these points to this one, and this one, then to this last one. So let's just go ahead to do that now with my pen. So guys, that is it. We are done with the back side of this sleeve. The next thing I'm going to do is just use my curve rule to trace out the curves I've made here. I'm going to do that for the front and the back part so that the curves I made can be very visible when I'm cutting. So here it is, guys. You can see our sleeve looking very beautiful. We are done with drafting this sleeve. So now guys, the next thing I'm going to do is to cut along these marker lines I've made here. So I'll just cut along the lines like so. So guys, you can see we are done with drafting our basic sleeve pattern. You can see that this is very easy. Why I like to make use of this basic sleeve pattern is because you know that curved area, it sits perfectly well on the armhole of whatever garment it is you are making. So it just makes that place very well structured. So guys, you can note that when I was cutting this, I didn't add any seam allowance. This is because I'm going to be using a basic, I'm going to be making use of this as a basic sleeve. So now let's just go ahead to measure the armhole here. So guys, the armhole I'm working with is actually 18 inches. So as you can see here, I had 20 inches. So this is right on track. So when you are cutting this on your main fabric, you're going to be adding your sewing allowance. So guys, we've come to the end of our tutorial. Please give this video a big fat thick thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I'm going to see you all in my next video. Bye.